Hey man, we are live and welcome to another edition of the EGlaze Chronicles. I am your host, EGlaze. We're in the 70s now, Coach. It's been a while since you was one of my early ones. Now we're
Yeah,
in the 70s, man, and I am happy today to be joined by one of my favorite people. He's a great guy. Seen his career go from. I've seen him through the Texas. I remember Texas A&M, that young whippersnapper. I'm like another Abdur-Rahim. And I
yeah.
Georgia. Then he went to Kennesaw State, and now he's in his second year at Kennesaw State. Please welcome everybody, the head coach of Kennesaw State men's basketball team, Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim. How are you doing today, sir?
Man, Glaze, I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's always fun to catch up with you.
Yeah, man.
Fellowship, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I got to start with this one thing.
Yep.
You need to know, and maybe you won't reveal it till game time. What does BONE stand for? What does it stand for, Coach? It's driving me right now.
Man, I can't say, man. It's our little
Oh,
I give you a little insight to it. It's just B1, man. You know,
okay.
ever notice it's a little bit more that go into my kids that strangle me, man, if I gave the whole thing. But if you ever notice when we put it on something, he is highlighted in yellow and everything, ONE, so B1.
Okay, I mean, I knew it was something internal, but
I'll tell you offline, put it out on the waves. I'll tell you offline.
Okay, all right, man, all right. We'll take that. I just had to because every post I see, it stands out. I like it. I love, me, I'm an old football guy, and I love when teams have that thing to rally around. So I'm happy to see that. Let's talk about this, Coach. We are in COVID, and Lord knows we're hearing about it already. We see what it's doing in college football with the cancellation of games and things of that nature. What is it doing? How are you trying to coach for this 2021 season and also be cognizant of the COVID things going around, make sure your players are well, and, trying to keep an eye on, the season as well?
Something that's really important to me, Glaze, man, and I guess it was more so I took it from when I was a player, and not that, coaches think that players are dumb, but I think sometimes, coaches are trying to protect their kids so much that, they try to shield them and shelter them things. Whereas, I can remember being a player, I'm like, man, this or this, right? Why don't they,
Right.
they just tell us like what's going on? And so what we tried to do with our kids early on, man, we tried to educate them as much as we can on, the COVID, their responsibility once they were back on campus, the accountability they had to each other, so on and so forth. So we've been really fortunate to have a group, man, that these dudes, they really buy into, what we're trying to do and staying safe, staying healthy. And we kind of gave them, a set of, I don't want to say rules, but basically like parameters of, what was okay and what wasn't, just to keep them safe. And obviously, no parties, no clubs, no lounges, but man, also, man, no movie theaters, no sitting in restaurants. If you want to get something, get it to go. Just trying to keep them out of those hot spots, to be honest. And so we've been really fortunate because they bought into what we've asked them to do. They've done a great job with it. And then, so because of that, we've been able to practice consistently, and I knock on wood, but, just so we don't, nothing happens here soon, but, with being a week out. But I say that because, if you look across the country, there are a lot of people that are shut down for 14 days. And that's not saying that they aren't disciplined. Sometimes stuff just happens, it could be something as simple as them touching a doorknob and touching their face, right? But we've been able to practice pretty consistently, and that's a testament to, our head trainer, a guy named Mike Young, who does an unbelievable job with our guys, and then our guys of, just staying disciplined and staying out of the places that, could bring them harm.
While you talk about that, and it's interesting you talk about discipline. I'm going through your roster right now. We talked about it a little earlier. A lot of young men on that team, Coach. I think it's 7, if I'm not could off of it, but you got a lot of young guys on there. How is it working, a new team, and trying to get, because the roster is different than last year, and how is it trying to get through That's what's amazing about this year. New team, COVID, trying to get them ready. How is it trying to get that all together like that?
You know, not to sound like cocky or arrogant, but that's the price of leadership. And that's the price of building a program. You know, the way you want to build it and how you, in a sense, like the way it should be done. And so, with that being said, I think, man, we have 10 new guys. I think we have 7 freshmen, 2 junior college players, and a transfer. And again, like I'm a brag on these dudes. Like, are they perfect? I'm not gonna say they're perfect, but the one thing that all of them have in common is that they all have a vision for themselves. Not only as basketball players, but as men. And what we're trying to do with that is we're trying to nurture, those ambitions that they have and help them get there. Now the thing that ties them all together is, man, these dudes love to hoop. Like, they love to hoop. Like, I mean, I've never seen, I shouldn't say I've never seen, but collectively, a group of guys that consistently stay in the gym. One of the, best, feelings I have as a head coach is, when I'm walking out of the gym at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, 95% of the time I'm gonna walk through that gym and I'm gonna probably have somewhere between, 5 or 6 guys in there getting some extra work in. And that part of it is fun. So I go back again. That's the price of leadership, man. No, I ain't gonna complain about it. It's what we signed up for. But it's also an unbelievable opportunity. Again, to I got into this thing to impact, and I think how I carry myself and how my staff, how we carry ourselves through this time. I think if we do it the right way and teach these kids that even in times of adversity or times of uncertainty, you still get up, you put your feet on the ground, you go to work, and you work as hard as you can. I think it'll impact them, definitely on the court, but greater, off the court as they go throughout their lives.
I know there's a huge difference between year 1 and 2. Year 1 wasn't the greatest of years.
Oh.
An opportunity for you as your head coaching.
Right.
What did you learn from year 1? I mean, a lot of people can take a lot of failures and be like, "Oh, that was just a year like year." But what did you learn from year 1 that you are able to take into year 2?
The biggest thing I learned was that you have to give yourself time. You have to go through the process. And going through it, like, it wasn't fun, but I'll tell you this, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because I think it's part of God's plan, for myself, it's part of God's plan for our program, for us to reach heights that, nobody had ever imagined Kennesaw State reaching. So, when I look back, hey, it might be at the end of this year, it might be, 2 years from now. When we look back at that first year, it's what will make us proud of the work that we've done and the impact that we've made. But I think I know you have to go through the process. And so what it's helped me with, to be honest with you, is having 7 freshmen, in your program. All of them want to be good right now. Like, they don't want to go through the hard times. They don't want to have to bust through that freshman wall. Like, they want to be good right now because they feel like they've always been good, or that they, that their game should, be better than, in a sense, what it is. And what they all have to understand, and what, my experience from last year taught me, and I share this with them, is that how I feel today as a head coach, man, it is totally different than last year. Last year around this time, man, my head was spinning. My practice plan was probably 45 minutes too long. I'm trying to get way too much in a day. Just driving myself crazy, thinking that, man, we got to get all of this in, and not realizing that the season, right, it's a journey, right, and that, okay, we might not be as good at this right now, but you know what, let's continue to work on it. Let's stay consistent in our principles, and then from there, we gradually get better over the year. I think my problem was last year, man, I was trying to be good the first game, and just like our freshmen, they're banging their heads up against a wall right now, thinking that they should be, averaging 25 points a game and not realizing like, man, this is a totally different level. And so that's what year one taught me. It's just, go through the process. Don't skip steps, but stay true to your values, stay true to your principles.
I thought about asking you this question, but you're a guy that I really admire. And I remember the whole family,
Yep.
from your sister, from your brother and all that. But this year, your family took a tough loss.
Yep.
You lost your father.
Yep.
And you talked about leadership and leading young men. Just talk about a little bit what he meant to you. Because one of the funny stories is when I first met Kadira, she was talking about there's a starting five and then there's another five.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters. But just talk about that family and what he meant and what he's meant for your career.
Man, there are a lot of great fathers out there in the world. There really are. And I could sit here and I could talk to you guys about, who he was to me as my father, but I'm sure he's the same. It's the same with, another great father that took time with their kids, right? I think for me, man, when I think about him, he was my first coach. He was my first coach. He was the first person to ever coach me hard, like hold me accountable. And again, this is outside of the house. Like, so I got friends that are on the same basketball team with us when we're playing, 7 and 8, 9 and 10 over in East Point at Jefferson Gym and at Sumner Park, right? And he was my first coach. So he was the first person that, man, I would watch him get off work, right? And this is when he was working at Yellow Freight, okay? And early on, he was working on the docks, right? And so, man, he'd get off work, he have his work shirt on, his jeans, and, his brogans, for people that don't, like everybody talk about Timberlands, he had his brogans on, and he'd come home, he'd pick me up, and we go to practice, and he's coaching our team, right, in his work clothes. And at the time, you don't think about this, right? You're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. You're not thinking about any of this. You just like, man, this coach, like we got practice. But I think over the years, as I remembered those times, the thing I think about is like, man, how tired did that dude have to be, right? But still was given his time, volunteering coaching, right? This ain't, they don't pay you for biddy ball, right? They don't pay you for that, so I think what my biggest thing that I learned from him, again, I said it earlier, man, I can hear him in my head right now is, hey, man, your feet touch that ground in the morning. It's time to go, right? Like we got to go be as good as we can. We got to go impact as many people as we can. So, man, it was obviously a hard loss for the family, especially to lose him to something, like COVID, right? Like something that, in a sense, like, man, I think it was a way, and I don't want to get political at all, but like, man, we don't have to be where we are today. Again, if we had people in leadership roles lead, right, and lead the right way. But I think, I never forget when my brother and my brothers and I, we were talking about it. This was like a day or two after he passed, and the thing that we talked about was, look, Dad prepared us for this, so like the best way we can honor him is by continuing to put our feet on the ground every morning and continuing to walk and impact and lead, the way he would. So, man, look, man, a father, man, is a special person, because like what I found out was this, Glaze, was that yeah, he was a father to me, but man, like the number of people that reached out to us, during that time, he was a father to many. He was a father to a lot of kids in the Atlanta, in the metro Atlanta area. And so, just that alone, it gives you comfort, it gives you peace that, he lived a life that, even though he may not be here physically, man, he's still here every day, not only in myself and my other siblings, but, in a guy like AJ Moye, who played at Indiana, who went to Westlake, or, I go on and on down the line. It's just a ton of people, but yeah, that's who he was for me and for my siblings and I.
Thank you for your candor on that, man. I thought your post on Instagram was outstanding to write up the synopsis about your father. Like I said, I'm still looking. The name will go live on between you and
Yeah.
just for you, Sharif, and your sister, who is now the chief. What is she? Chief Equity Officer of Atlanta now.
Yeah.
Kadira. So he obviously did something right because your family name will be strong. So
Absolutely.
a chance to meet him, but just to meet you guys, I know that he was a great guy. So glad to be able to say that. But let's keep going, man, and just talk about what you got going as far as this schedule. We are it is a little over a week.
Yeah.
November 25th, got 2 games scheduled that week, that Wednesday and Saturday.
Yep.
Let me pull them up real quick. Carver and Toccoa Falls.
Yep.
Let me start with this. What's the idea for seating and allowing people to see the game? Will it be limited? How will y'all be able to do originally?
So as of right now, or as of today, I should say this, like there are season tickets on sale right now at ksuowls.com. So if anybody wants to grab some tickets to come see a great group of kids, throughout the season, they're already on sale. But what they're saying right now is that it will be 20% capacity. Okay. They say that, so I'm not sure if that's, well, I am. It's right around, like right at 1,000 people is what they're saying. And obviously, as the year goes on and say like these vaccines and whatever it may be, or Governor Kemp, lifts this the policies on gatherings, then it could go up. But our thought first and foremost is to keep our kids healthy and safe, and really keep everybody healthy and safe. Be smart about it, because it's as important of a role that sports plays, at our university and in our communities, across Georgia, across the country. We don't need to be losing any more people to something that's preventable. We don't need to do that anymore. So we're trying to be smart about it. We would love to have our fans there. Again, I think, we've got a really competitive group, and they deserve to have people come watch their hard work. But at the same time too, as of right now, man, we need to be smart, in what we do.
I think that's the thing. I just wanted to make sure we get that because I'm excited. I'm going to already put my quest on who I need to talk to, but I need my credential because I'm covering Kennesaw State this year.
I want
to make sure I'm there because it's around the corner from me. What will I be writing about this season, in your opinion? What would I be typing? What would I be posting? What will people talk about when they say Kennesaw State is this year?
Man, we hard rocking. That's the one thing I know. I think I've been doing this 15 years now, and I think it's something to be said about guys or kids that what you're going to get from them every day. Are they going to make every shot they shoot? Probably not. Are they going to have some turnovers here? Yeah. But the one thing I think with this group, and we've been going, I think our official practices, we've just had our 24th one today. And man, every day we walk out of there as a staff, we like, man, them dudes go hard, like they compete. And it's not just, I think you find a special group when, a lot of people can play, 5-on-5. They'll compete when it's 5-on-5 or 1-on-1, or, it's somebody bumping up against them or in front of them, trying to stop them. But I also think that you find a special group when they can compete against the details, when, they're doing something and nobody's guarding them, or it's a simple passing drill and they're trying to be as good as they can at that passing drill, or they're trying to be as good as they can when they're working on their shot or whatever it may be. And so we have a group, man, these dudes, they really love to compete. They love to play together. And that's big. Like, that's big for us, because, again, when you're building the program, you got to build it on guys that are bought in. Again, we go back to Bone. We go back to B1, right? It's everybody. Like, it's our individual talents, right, mixing together for the betterment of the team, creating one heartbeat, one team, right? That's what it is. So I think when you write about it, you're going to lead a gym and you're going to say, man, them dudes play hard. They are unbelievably competitive. And for me as a coach, that's all I ask. because the other part will handle itself because they work, they put the time in to be good on their own. So I'm not necessarily worried about scoring or anything like that. It's more so how competitive, will we be, and they've already answered that for me.
I know, Coach, from your a great coach as yourself and somebody who puts a lot of effort into this. What would success look like for you this year? What would
success look like for me? I don't think I can put I would love to say, Glaze, man, I would love to say, man, if we get somewhere between 13 and 15 games, that'd be success for me. Because I don't think in the history as a Division I team, I think the most we've won is 14 games as a Division I team. And so I would love to put a number in the win column as success. But I do know this, and I kind of tell it like it is. Last year, man, we lost, every game we played except one. But the thing that bothered me, I think, more than anything last year was we were losing games, by double digits, right? And we weren't consistent enough throughout the game. We might play a good 10 minutes. By the end of the season, we got better. By the end of the season, we were playing, about a good 25 minutes. And then, the other 15 minutes, man, we just stopped competing, right? So for me, success would be this year, it would be being consistent for 40 minutes in our effort, being consistent for 40 minutes in our execution. And I think if we can do that, right? Then the number that we talked about in the win column, it will be that and more. But the other part of success for me is to make sure, academically, we achieve our 3.0 as a team for the year. Last year, we were right at like a 2.9 and some change, right? And it wasn't quite good enough. Now, I was happy because, we had a 3.44 in the spring, and that was the highest, I think it was like the highest in program history. But I think, again, you talk about consistency, on the court, it's being consistent off the court too, right? If we can, if we get I think we had a 3.44 in the spring, but we had like a 2.7 or a 2.8 in the fall, right? Like it's inconsistent, right? So if we can have that consistency off the court, I know it'll bleed over to the court. And again, and I'm not trying to put too much on this group, like, because we're still young, we're still inexperienced, we still have to go through some growing pains, but where they are very consistent is, man, they're on time, right? For study hall, they're on time for class, they're on time for their training, their rehab sessions if they need them, and they're always on time for basketball, for practice or workouts, or if they're coming in to watch film, or I literally, like Chris Youngblood, one of our freshmen, man, I see the dude running down the hall one day with his lunch in his hand. I'm like, hey man, where you going? He like, man, I gotta be in Coach Tanner's office in 2 minutes for film, right? I walk away, just kind of smile, because when those kids, when they think like that, man, sky's the limit. Like, I think we can, we're building, it shows me that we're building, the type of program that I know can sustain and be successful.
And you just mentioned it, and I got a few more questions for you, Coach. I know you got to go because you got things to do.
No,
you mentioned Youngblood, LaRue, Stroud, Quarterbaum, Jennings, these young freshmen and all of that. What can they expect going into this A-Sun season? Because the A-Sun is always, it get hot around here in that Atlantic Sun. So what can we expect for them? What can they expect going into this season?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this, Glaze, man. Again, obviously in this COVID environment that we're in, what I'm hoping is that, we all can stay safe and stay healthy, right? So we can play these non-conference games, right? Because I think if they can get 6 to 7 non-conference games under their belt going into A-Sun play, especially against the, like as of right now, you talked about Carver and Tacoma Falls, but we're at UAB, we're at Creighton, at Belmont, and then we come home and we have Samford and Mercer. Those are 5 really, quality opponents, right?
Yeah, I got that Mercer game circled, so I'm just
right.
I got them all circled, but yeah.
Yeah, no question. So for those young guys, you know, man, like to be able to have, you know, those games under their belt, to be able to go into an environment on the road like UAB, Creighton, and with fans or without fans, like those are really good programs, right? For them to be able to go into those environments and kind of see where they are, it only helps them as we go into ASUN play. And then once they get to the ASUN, and I'm probably wrong for this, but like I told all of them, look, man, you guys might be freshmen by class, but you can't be freshmen, you know, from a maturity standpoint. You guys have to be mature above, you know, beyond your years, you know, so so we can get better. And to their credit, you know, they're still freshmen. You know, you still got to remind them of certain things. But again, you know, they've handled freedom, the freedom that comes along with being away from home for the first time and being a freshman, and they've done an unbelievable job of handling that. But I'll tell you this, where we're really fortunate is that we have three older guys, and Jamie Lewis, who was with us last year, who's in much, you know, much improved, much better shape than last year. Spencer Rogers, who was a transfer from Southwest Mississippi, but he was at Troy his freshman year, and then Alex Peterson, who was another junior college transfer from Missouri West Plains. You know, those three guys right there have a level of leadership, toughness, and maturity that we haven't had in our program in quite some time. So they've done a good job of kind of helping, you know, the freshmen along, you know, and help them through those little growing pains by sharing their experiences of, you know, what they struggled with as freshmen. So it's a good group, Glaze. It really is.
I'll end with this, coach, and then we'll tell people where they can go get some things and follow this team at. But what can Northwest Georgia, the state of Georgia, the Southeast, and everywhere, what can they expect? What can they look forward to with this Kennesaw State team in 2020-21?
Man, you know, again, hard working, hard rocking, competitive, and man, we're going to be a really high up tempo team, man. You know, the thing that we wanted to do last year, or I should say when we took over the job, is we wanted to create a brand of basketball that, you know, man, if you don't want to drive 30, 35 minutes south, you know, to go to a Hawks game or a Georgia Tech game, you know, where you could walk into the convocation center and you're going to be entertained, you know, night in, night out. And a big part of last year for us was like, we inherited who we inherited. And I wasn't going to run any of those kids off right away without giving them an opportunity to earn the right to be a part of our program. And, you know, it was some guys that, you know, decided to do something different, but, you know, having, again, Jamie Lewis, Antonio Spencer, Glenn Robinson, Terrell Burton, and Armani Harris, you know, back in the fold. These are guys that are committed to our culture and committed to our standards, and they're here. And so we're on the right track. There's no doubt in my mind. You know, people that asked me about last year, hey man, look, I embrace it. Like it's part of me, right? It's going to be part of my story. It's going to be part of our journey. But when people in this area come into our gym, it's going to be a team they're proud of. You know, it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to mimic a lot of the blue collar, hard working, whether it's mom and pop restaurants or small business owners in this area that, you know, built their businesses, you know, with their bare hands. It's going to definitely look a lot like those people, you know, that work hard, you know, and compete at what they do to put the best brand out there that they can.
And I lied, because I do have one more, because I saw something that that popped out of me about this roster, and we talked before. We kept talking about it. Is the presence of Georgia players on this team, and it's pretty strong on this squad. I see some kids that, you know, I've seen from the Wheelers and the Langston Hughes that I've kind of been seeing around. How important is that? Because, you know, that's something that we were able to see now, and, you know, knowing that these kids are from local areas in this area would probably, you know, bring some type of energy, because people want to see kids they've seen all their life in this area or in this town.
Yeah, that was priority number one. You and I talked about that when I first got the job here. And I think when I took over, we had 2 kids on our roster from Georgia. Last year we had 4 kids on our roster from Georgia that were on scholarship. And I think now, like between the scholarship kids and a few walk-ons, I think we have 10 kids on our roster from Georgia. And I think that's really important in building our program, because at a place like Kennesaw State, you know, I mean, we're just being honest, you know, it's not that we don't have the name that Georgia Tech, you know, or the conference of the ACC, where, you know, people can come see North Carolina, or they can come to get to the game because it's Duke, right? Well, what's going to get fans in our arena is that the kids that we have playing for us, they can recognize, they know them, right? They follow them through high school, and that's, you know, it could be, you know, as close as Wheeler all the way down to Coweta County. You know, these are kids that people are invested in, and that's the best word I can use, because they've seen these kids grow, and for these kids to now be here, and this was a big part of getting them here, was, you know, the people that have enjoyed and invested in your time growing up, and if, you know, whether it's mom and dad driving 45 minutes to go, you know, watch you play in Lake Point, or you know, or up in Swanee, right? Man, give them that chance to enjoy this college experience too, right? And so when you talk about, you know, season tickets, and you talk about, you know, getting people in the stands, look here, man, it's no better. It's really the only way you do it, right? At a place like Kennesaw State, where, you know, there are a few other things you can do entertainment wise, right? But when it comes to basketball, right, and having, you know, a team that people can recognize, is no better way to really build your brand and put people in the seats.
Well, awesome, Coach. Like I said, I can't wait to see this season. I think, you know, I saw the energy last year. I see what you're doing, the team you're building, and I think this will be some season to look. And I won't give you no more pressure, but I'm hearing some other talk about possible coaching things, but we'll hold on into the season so you'll see how that falls out. Coach, what can people, for those fans that you want to get out there, and, you know, first of all, let me just say this: if you ever just feel like following a coach, at Sunset Amir, follows on Instagram and Twitter, you're gonna find some things. You find out about the program. You hear a lot about his. You know, he's a great follow. So Sunset Amir, go back to our Instagram show to why he named it that way. We'll let you go and talk about that later. But what can they find if people want to get tickets? Where would you tell them to go and follow this team for the 2021 season?
Yeah, if you want to get tickets, ksuout.com. They're already up. You know, they have single game, they have bundles, and again, also they have season tickets. Again, you know, being in a COVID environment that we're in right now, it's a little bit different than normal years, you know. But, and then if you want to keep up with the team, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Instagram, it's KSU Owls MBB, at KSU Owls MBB. And again, we have a really good sports information guy named Nathan Bryant, who, you know, they do a great job of putting out great content on our guys. I've had coaches from Power 5 schools call me like, "Hey man, who runs y'all social media stuff?" And I tell them, I'm like, "Look, man, we got a really good SID man who does a good job of coming up with really cool ideas in order to help our fans get to know our players." Again, when you got 10 new guys, you know, you gotta get creative with it. But yeah, you know, at Sunset Amir, like Glaze said, at KSU Owls MBB, both on Instagram and on Twitter. And again, ksuowls.com, man, if you guys want to come support and grab some tickets.
All right, just for my boy Maceo, he's the fashion guy. Any more gear is coming out this year that we gotta look forward to, or you holding on that?
Not this year, but I'm gonna have something at the beginning of next year.
Okay.
I'm make sure to hit y'all, and I'm gonna bring y'all a little package.
Okay. Now, you know, 'cause I know you, Coach. You fresh. I know you got some things cooking in the thing, man.
I do too much, man. You know, I got a good wife, man. She dressed me, so she take care.
Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim, one of the best out there, good friend. Again, man, thank you for being your candor today.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about man and your family, and I'm looking forward to a great season, man. And look, man, I'm hoping that this COVID, you know, is a real thing that we got to deal with.
Yeah.
But the one thing that we've been able to enjoy, even though it's been sparse, is that sports kind of gets us that thing we need sometimes.
A little sense of normalcy.
Yeah, and we kind of need that. It's going to be interesting this year that you're going to have to share the spotlight a little bit with the football team during the spring, because they, you know.
Look, man, look, me and Brian Bohannon, that's my man. So if I'm somebody, I share it with him. You know, people need to support them because obviously they built a big time program over here, man. So I love being in this community at this school. We got some great head coaches. We have great administrators, man. And again, I really believe this, man. The sky's the limit for Kennesaw State. It really is.
Yeah, be careful, man, because I keep telling everybody, you hear that scream in the Northwest Georgia, that's Kennesaw. They got a lot going on up there. Like Andre 3000, Kennesaw State got something to say. So y'all be ready.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you guys for another great and joining us. The show will be out. We'll see y'all next time. And remember, continue to optimize your vision, guys. Talk to you later.